Jacques, interesting selection, just Jaden's selection over Faf.
Yeah, I think, yes, we all know what Faf brings, lots of experience, and he's a world-class scrum half. But I also think we all saw Jaden's performance last weekend, and we really, as coaching group and selectors, thought that he performed well. So I think if you look at our squad, the 42 that's here, there's a lot of competition. There's a lot of informed players. There's a lot of players that's knocking hard on the door. And I think for the players who's probably you would call the established players that have been here before or won a World Cup and British and Irish Lions series, I think for them it's key to focus on their performance week in, week out. And for the other guys, if they perform well and they knock on the door, that's the way they'll get selected. So the challenge will be, and I think Jaden will know that Faf will come hard for him, and to get his spot back because he's a fighter, and his challenge is now to keep on putting in consistent performances like he did on the weekend.
What is it about Jaden, the technically that you like, the strengths of his game that you think that appealed to you?
No, I thought he had a well-balanced game. I thought he had a good kicking game. I thought his passing accuracy was really good. I thought he got nice rhythm on our attack, I thought his defence was strong. Hopefully, all aspects of his game was really good.
So how important is that accuracy going to be? Obviously, that's a big part of your game plan. The high ball and so on, the kicking game. So, just in terms of the accuracy, obviously it wasn't the case in the previous two games.
I thought the accuracy was in the first game wasn't good, and especially in the first half, and we had to move away from our kicking game and try and apply pressure in a different method to get the result. And I thought our kicking game wasn't too bad last weekend. So I don't think it was too bad last weekend. When we kick, I thought receiving we weren't great, but when we kick, I thought we got nice opportunity. We got a couple of if I just think of where the yellow card came from, where Kirtley got tackled a metre short from the try line. That came from a contestable kick that we regathered, and then we could launch with that.
Jacques, in terms of, obviously there's the rugby championship around the corner, and after this it's the All Blacks. Do you feel any need, and maybe was it the case in the first two tests also, to hide something from the All Blacks, kind of balance the need to win, but also not kind of, show your hand before you go into the rugby championship?
Yeah, I think when we started the year, we obviously have got, after our review of 2021, we obviously got certain internal things that we would like to achieve, and in all aspects of our game, and we're busy with that process. We remind ourselves weekly of that process. And some of the things are accelerating nicely, and some of it is not accelerating as quickly as we thought it would. So yeah, we're continuously building on that.
Ox's selection over Trevor Ox, and Trevor started at tight head last week. You said this week.
Yeah.
The Cape Town surface is also not great for scrumming. The pitch cuts up. Just give us your thoughts on that selection, please.
Yeah, I think there, if you look at the front rows that we have, I think we're fortunate there. Last week Thomas has started at loose head, but he played majority of his rugby at tight head. And the same with someone like Trevor. It's we are fortunate that we can have a player of that quality that can produce at loose head and tight head. And listen, it's a coin toss between the two. I thought Ox really played well he played well in the first test, and I thought Trevor was equally as good in the second test. And we just decided to go with the front row that we used before last year, where Trevor is on the loose head with Bongi, and then Frans Malherbe on the tight head, and we got some good results with that. So that's why we went that route.
Jacques, in terms of game plan, you guys played a little bit more expansively last week. Does it revert back to plan A or this weekend? Or
Yeah, Brendan, I think the thing is, and I know it's a cliche answer, but you are trying to apply pressure with different methods, you know. So, like in the first game, we obviously were chasing the scoreboard, and they had scoreboard pressure on us, and our kicking game didn't work in the first half because of our inaccuracy, and then we had to convert to a more ball in hand approach to try and apply pressure on them, and I thought we did that in the second half of the first test. Last week, I really thought there were some instances where we attacked well, and we kept the ball in hand. I think that's probably one of the big work-ons for us from and take our messages from last week is the lost opportunities. I mentioned it after the game. I think when we did the review yesterday, there was about 4 instances where we lost the ball due to our inaccuracy between the 5 meter and the goal line of Wales, you know, and that is. Yeah, that is something that we have to improve on, and so I really thought we had opportunities, but we just didn't take them in the last test. So we will obviously we've got a how can I say, foundation of a game plan that we play, and we will probably start out that way, and then we'll have to see. Sometimes the opposition neutralizes one way of applying pressure, and then we must look at another way to apply pressure. So yeah, we know the way that we would like to play, but then we will. I think the challenge will be to adapt within the game.
There's probably some of the public that thought it might be a bit more of a mix and match, and not just Jaden sort of being the only sort of newish guy in the starting lineup. Just your message to them, just about the other players last week that didn't obviously make the 23 this week.
Yeah, I thought there's a couple of guys that stood out, you know, and for us it was. You know, URC is let's say club rugby or franchise rugby. You can judge a player there the whole season, but you need to see him a test match, and you need to see him in a test match where there's pressure. You know, it's easy. I think it's unfair on a player to play him in a game that he wants to shine and he wants to perform, but there's nothing on the game. You know, so I thought that was the reason for us going with the selection last week like we did. It's not that we thought we disrespecting Wales. I really think that team could have beaten Wales. I mean, otherwise we wouldn't have selected the team. And like I said, we had a couple of opportunities which we just didn't finish. And I thought the guys really played well. But there's also a couple of guys where we could see there's still a little bit of a gap in the development, and our challenge as a coaching team is now to close that gap. You know, yeah.
Ralph, do you think that the global rugby this month so far is it showing that things will be tighter than ever at the World Cup? Are the teams as many more teams than before? I mean, how tight do you think World Rugby is progressing in terms of the differences between the teams now?
Yeah, I think if you look at just what happened on the weekend, you know, where you can be number 1 in the world, and then within a blink of an eye you're back to number 3 in the world, you know. And I think that's the nice thing of where we are currently. I think in rugby, I think in the top 10 teams. Or top 10 ranking teams in the world, I think any team can beat anybody on any given day. I thought, I mean, if you look at I don't know if you guys watched the Japan versus France game. I mean, if that hooker scored, it would have been Japan beating France, you know. And so I really think it's that tight. If you get something wrong on the weekend, doesn't matter if number 1 in the world is playing number 10 in the world, like France is playing number 10 in the world. You know, if you don't get your stuff or your house in order, you can lose. So yeah, it's very tight.
Sorry, Joel, I know Jaden needs some questions. Just quickly, what's the plan with Elton? Because he played 40 minutes in the first test. As you said, then he only had played half an hour rugby before that.
Yeah.
He hasn't now featured in the next 2 tests. I don't know, you know, he's going to go into the rugby championship with no club rugby, as it appears to me. I don't know when the Japanese go back exactly. So how's he going to be managed in terms of game time?
Yeah, listen, that he probably misses out because we're going with 6-2 splits, and yeah, if we go 5-3, Elton would be in the mix. So, that's unfortunately where we are, and that's why I thought it was so important for us to give him some game time, And with Andre only arriving on that Sunday, it was the ideal opportunity for us, and he's been working with us. So yes, he's got 40 minutes, and I think, like I mentioned there, I think the conservative way of selection from our coaching group would have probably be to go with a 5-3 split, But if we did that, we probably wouldn't have seen Gaza play then. So we decided to stick with the 6-2 split, and that's unfortunately just where we are.
So if Polly gets injured on Saturday, hopefully not, then you're going to go into the rugby championship with Alton, who's undercooked. I guess that's the way it is.
Yeah, I guess that is the way it is, yeah.
Jacques, can you just, obviously a series to win, but just a word on Eben for the weekend, is there a sense of occasion surrounding all of that, and just the contribution to South African rugby over the years?
Yeah, I think both Eben's playing his 100th and Bongi's playing his 50th, so I think that's big milestone, individual milestones. But I think, that's the thing. Rugby is a team sport, They've been given the opportunity to play in these milestone games because of good team performances in the past. I think the key thing for those two gentlemen, yes, it's a very proud moment, and their families will be proud. But the main thing is, I think if you lose your 100th test, I think it haunts you for the rest of your life, and if you win it, that special day will stay with you forever. So the key thing is, yes, it's a big game, but the main thing is to focus on what the team needs and how they can serve the team, because it is at the end of the team sport. And both those gentlemen has been warriors for South Africa.
Jacques, you've coached Eben since he was at the Storms in 2012. What's been the biggest growth over the past 10 years, physically and mentally?
I think he was always a athlete, Eben, and I think obviously starting out, this young player, I think when he started out, he was, I don't know what his age was, he was probably 21, 22. I know he played for the Stormers before he played for Western Province, and he played a test match before he played for Western Province, I think. So I think the thing there, I remember the young Eben, and now I see a guy that's got a lot of leadership attributes. He's led his country. He was captain of the Springboks before, it's nice to see him becoming a grown man. From the young. How can I say? He had no stress, and he was a kid, when he started playing for us, and now he's this man, with hopefully getting a family and all that. So yeah.
Has he? He was early days. He was a bit fiery and got into trouble. He hasn't had a yellow card in years now. At test level, has he matured in that sense in terms of discipline?
Yeah, I think we all do, eh?
Yeah.
We're all naughty when we're young, and then you get brains and you get responsibilities, and I think that's the growth of a rugby player. You start out and sometimes the lights take you, and you get a little bit of a ego, and you get entitled, and then you lose form, and I'm not saying, I'm talking in general. So I think Eben is the two penalties he conceded last weekend, he took personal, and that speaks volumes for him. He knows discipline is key for us to get victories at this level with how tight the games are currently, and he's a big leader in terms of that.
Jaden, congratulations on your selection first of all, and just how do you feel the confidence placed in you to play in such a big game on Saturday?
No, thank you so much. Like Coach said, if the coaches back me, then I'm just going in with a simple plan, doing my basics well, and then just doing what the team needs and making the team win. So.
Yeah, and obviously there will be a little bit of nerves. You have made your debut, but it's a massive game coming up.
Yeah, it's like a final for us. Like if we win it, we win the series. So there is a bit of nerves, but once it comes closer to the game, and once I do my first thing or do the first play, then the nerves will go away, and then I just have to execute my job.
Jacques, it seemed like maybe before the tour started that you had a very clear roadmap around selection for the first two games. How much, in terms of Jaden, was this something that maybe wasn't planned and was purely a case of rewarding a top performance last weekend? To go ahead of someone like Faf seems like a pretty big call, maybe that one that you weren't planning before the tour started. Is that fair to say? And maybe Jaden, you can just speak to, like you said, the backing of the coaches, how much that means to you and what confidence it brings.
Look, if I go first, I think if you look at Jaden's performance over the year for the Sharks, we thought it was good. He was. If you look at the roadmap that we had of him playing for the Sharks, we really, or the performance analysis we did on him, he was really on form. And there wasn't a big gap in terms of what he was producing with the Sharks versus what we are looking for. And I think it's just consistent performances. It's not just only last weekend. He's good at trainings. He was with us from the start. With the Sharks not making or getting knocked out in the quarterfinal, I think. So against the Bulls. He was solid from then.
Yeah, just from my side, I was just trying to be consistent and just keeping the same performance. So yeah.
Jaden, I don't know, probably hard for you to answer this, maybe the coach needs to, but I'll ask you, Faf's ability to sort of read attacking plays and shut down attacks with surging runs he makes from deep, I mean, that's something he obviously works on, but also something he's got a natural ability. How much sort of pressure is on you to act as that extra defender like Faf does in the setup as well?
For me, it's just trying to be myself, and then just trying to be myself and do what I can do, and then to also provide for the team. And then also we have pressure points in our system, so yep.
So when you spoke about systems, obviously there's a game plan that you play, but you also mentioned yourself, and if there's a chance on Saturday that you're going to play the situation, is that your mindset going into the game?
We have a game plan that we follow, and then if there's opportunity, we'll definitely take it. But we have a game plan that we stick to, that we practice the whole week. So, and then we also pitches that we see during the week, and then on Saturday, if the pitcher is the same, then we will just take it.
And you will react accordingly.
Jaden, how personally have the guys taken what happened over the weekend, and what has the discussion been between the players about rectifying things?
For us, it's also like coach has said to us, it's a big game. It's like a final for us this weekend. If we win it, we're going to win the series. So you can see at training yesterday, guys were actually so detailed on their roles and what they have to do and what they have to execute over the weekend coming. So,
Jacques, does this feel a bit like the Lions week, the third test? The situation's similar in terms of 1-1.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think the not that there was less focus last week. I say it again. I think Jaden spoke about opportunity. Now, I thought there was a couple of times on Saturday in the past test that there was massive opportunity, which we just didn't finish. I'm thinking between Warwick and Kirtley early on in the game, there was a 2-on-1 that we didn't finish, and it's neither's fault. It's just, listen, sometimes it just work out that way. And the same with Warwick and Apelele in the second half, when Warwick almost got around Rees Hammett, and we had the 15 adjusting in on him. So it was again a 2-on-1 which we didn't finish, and like I said, that was 5 meters from the try line. So like you mentioned now, there's a specific game plan that we lay down as a foundation, but within that game plan you must bring your own your individuality to the table. Otherwise we could have selected a bunch of robots, so each of the players that we selected have got a specific skill set, and almost a circus act that he has to bring to the party. Otherwise we could have selected someone else. But yeah, same on your question in terms of how big this game is for us. Exactly the same as the British and Irish Lions, the final game.
Yeah, because I suppose that series was against a whole bunch of other issues in COVID. I mean, it would be a bit of a disaster to lose this series in terms of So is it, what I'm saying is, that For once,
look,
is it not about process, it's about purely result.
look, it's always about results. So even losing last weekend was a disaster for us. Like I said, we selected that team because we believed that team can beat Wales, and for 78 minutes they did, you know. And then, like I say, with this, I said it in the press conference afterwards. I thought discipline. We were probably comfortable 12-3 with how much, to 15 minutes to go and 65 minutes on the clock, or there and thereabout, you know, where we but ill discipline then gave Wales the opportunity to get back in a half, and then gave them opportunity to get points on the board, which put us under pressure. So the team we selected, we felt could beat Wales, and so no, it was a disaster last weekend. It's not a disaster. We obviously selected 42 guys, and we had a plan, because we thought that these 42 guys will have the ability to beat Wales, and our plan was to beat them within the first 2 test matches, while maybe having the opportunity to give everybody a run. But yeah, it wasn't that we wanted to play guys in the second game and almost throw the test match because we don't think we can win the test match. No, yes, obviously we thought we can beat them.
So in a roundabout way, though, it does give you, it's the closest you're going to get to a World Cup knockout game. So in that sense, it gives them that, the guys like Jaden and Elric Lowe, and probably haven't been in that situation, give them a chance to feel that kind of pressure. Yeah,
I feel all 3 games were what we will face when we go to a World Cup, and not that. And again, we're not looking at the World Cup. World Cup is still far ahead. You can't look. You can't lift your head so high and look there in the distance, and then you fall over the stone right in front of you. So, but yeah, we need to get exposure to knockout rugby, and I thought the first game was knockout rugby because we had to come back. Then the second game was a knockout game. If we win that, the series was wrapped up, and then this last game is now the knockout game for us. So I think it's good for us to get exposure to knockout rugby.
Jaden, the coach mentioned circus act. So what is your circus act?
My circus, what do you think? What is my circus act?
Just I think your unpredictability and the way you can read the game.
Yeah, like, yeah, 100%. For me, it's just going out and expressing myself. Yeah, and then also seeing what pictures I get in front of me. Yeah.
John, there's a real perception with the public and a frustration with the amount of box kicks, and the perception that we don't gather enough of them, that it seems we are one-dimensional in attack. And it's not just the Springboks, it's world rugby now at the moment. There's a lot of box kicks. Is it that we are not accurate enough, or is it one-dimensional?
No, I think, like I said, you want to apply pressure in different ways. If there is 14 players in the front line and all of them are good defenders, and there's only one player at the back covering 70 meters, where's the space? The space is probably not in the front line. The space is probably at the back, because you can isolate that guy. And I think, but look, perception will always be perception, and the fans have the right to feel like that. I mean, they are fans, and they must support and criticize and be happy and be sad as much as they want, because that is their role in this within this whole rugby organism, if I can put it like that. Our job is to stay with reality. Our job is to look where there's opportunity. Our job is to look where rules of the game and where skill set takes you as a team, and then you'll have to play. Where's your strength as a team, and then you try and play towards that. That's our job, and to try and coach the players to do it as best as possible. So yeah, no, it will be like that. But yes, there's a lot of kicking currently. Even if you look at all the games, if you look at top, I think in the Premiership final there was over 100 kicks. I think in the URC final there was, I think the one team kicked 46 times and the other one kicked 42 times or something. There was almost 90 kicks. So I think it's just where the game is currently, unfortunately for the spectator.
Sorry, Jacques, I know you're sick of us by now, but my perception, I haven't seen the numbers, so maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but it feels like we've been sort of second best at the breakdown in the series. Is that fair or not? Because it feels like Tommy Reffell's been getting a lot of penalties, and I don't know if that's just yeah.
No. I think I'm not sure in the first game, but the second game definitely. I thought our breakdown wasn't good. It's something that we mentioned during the week, and yes, obviously, I think as a coaching group we had some faults there because obviously the players wasn't tuned in enough. It's either that or maybe the players who played struggled to handle him. But you know, we know him. I know him fairly well for coaching abroad and coming through the ranks and stuff like that. So yeah, we knew he's a big threat at the breakdown, and he would be a menace, and he will be a menace again this weekend if we don't make sure that we look after our ball.
Jaden, Jacques obviously spoke earlier about the competition at fly half, and Faf will want to earn his place back, of course, but what have you learned from Faf and Herschel in this environment? What are the things that their experience can benefit you in terms of, obviously, your teammates, and I'm sure they've been imparting a fair bit of knowledge?
Just like seeing different pitches and different situations, and also how to manage a game at the back end. So yeah, that's been a major learning thing for me, and also seeing it here, because test match level, when you get to test match level, it's more on the detail and executing the details. So yeah.
Any Afrikaans questions, guys?
Coach, asseblief net 'n opsomming van die spanning vir hierdie naweek asseblief. Natuurlik Jaden se posisie wat hy inkom vir Faf. In die algemeen, en dan net die fokuspunte vir hierdie naweek. Hoe seker dat maar die series kan doen.
Ja, eerste ding op Jaden, ja, ons almal weet Faf is 'n uitstekende en 'n wêreldklas speler. En maar ek dink Jaden het 'n baie goeie wedstryd gehad laas naweek. En ja, dis hoekom ons gegaan het met Jaden wat begin saam met Andre en Faf op die bank. Ons kan altyd vir Faf het, soos ons sê, uit die wêreld se ondervinding, en dis lekker om so ervare ou op die bank te hê. En ek seker ja, soos ek vir Faf ken, hy's 'n fighter en hy sal alles in sy vermoë gee om sy nommer 9 trui terug te kry, en die challenge is nou op Jaden om hom te probeer uithou, en ek dink in ons groep gaan dit so. Ek dink daar's 'n klomp kompetisie, en dis goeie kompetisie, en die spelers wat, as 'n ou maar kan sê, die spelers wat in die verlede al vir ons in die wêreldbeker gespeel het, in die Britse en Ierse Leeu's, jy weet, ons sal altyd kyk na ervaring. Ervaring is belangrik op toetsvlak, veral in groot wedstryde, maar as kom ons noem hulle bietjie minder ervare spelers, goed speel week in week uit en goed oefen, dan is daar nie 'n rede hoekom hulle nie sal kies nie. En dan in terme van Trevor en Ox, ons is bevoorreg daar met Trevor wat loskop en vaskop vir ons kan speel, en dit is 'n voorry wat ons al voorheen gebruik het, wat baie goeie resultate vir ons gehad het in die verlede, en dis hoekom ons besluit het om met daai voorry te gaan. Maar soos ek sê, daar's 'n baie klein verskil tussen Ox en Trevor. En ja, die ander,
Die fokuspunte vir hierdie naweek.
ja, die fokuspunte vir ons hierdie naweek is, ek dink, dis maar die cliché, jy sal altyd, jou voorspeler sal vir ons met 'n goeie platform daar lê. En dan ek dink ons, as jy kyk na die toets wat ons, die eerste toets, veral in die tweede helfte, het ons die met die kalm kop, soos 'n ou soos Willie wat opgekom het, het hy die geleenthede op aanval raak gesien, en hy het ons in die regte areas gekry, en hy het vir ons geleenthede geskep, wat toe daartoe gelei het dat ons 18 punte kon uitwis, die agterstand wat ons gehad het. Ek dink wat in ons assessment van die tweede toets, was daar 'n paar geleenthede, ons het 'n hele paar geleenthede gekweek, maar ons het hulle nie gebruik nie. So dit vir ons voorspelers sal die platform moet lê, en die agterspelers sal, as daar geleenthede vir ons is, sal hulle die sneller moet trek en daai geleenthede moet vat.
Laastens het iets tekort aan Jaden en Gongie wat natuurlik fantastiese nou merke gaan redelik hierdie week naweek?
Ja, ek dink eers dis altyd individueel is dit 'n groot geleentheid wanneer jy jou 100ste toets vir jou land speel of jou 50ste toets, soos wat Eben en Bongie speel. Eben sy 100ste en Bongie sy 50ste. Maar ek dink die ander belangrike punt daar is dat dit is nog steeds 'n spansport, alhoewel dit 'n baie trotse oomblik is vir die individu en 'n baie trotse oomblik is vir sy familie. Dis vorige spanne wat hom in daardie posisie gesit het. En ek dink die belangrike ding vir daai twee spelers is om te fokus op is op hulle wat hulle kan doen vir die span, jy weet, in die toets, want ek dink as jy so groot wedstryd speel, jou 50ste of jou 100ste wedstryd, as jy so 'n wedstryd wen, dan is daai oomblik saam met jou vir die res van jou lewe, maar ek dink as jy daai toets verloor, dan is dit so half 'n oomblik wat jou hond vir die res van jou lewe. So ek dink die fokus moet gaan in wat hulle vir die span kan doen en wat die span vir hulle kan doen, ja.
So ek dink jy met Eben dat hy is deur die jare, omdat hy so aggressief is, besef mense nie eintlik hoe gedissiplineerd hy is nie. Want hy is 'n ou wat eintlik nie ek weet nou verlede week miskien 'n strafskop op 2 gekry, maar deur die jare sê mense hy's 'n geel kaart gevaar of so, en wanneer dit nie eintlik die geval is nie. En dink jy Eben, dink jy dis 'n aspek van Eben se spel deur die jare miskien wat mense miskyk, is die dissipline in sy spel?
Ja, ek dink waar mense baie keer dissipline verwar met om dinge persoonlik te maak. Ek dink Eben is 'n competitive ou, jy weet, hy kompeteer en jy speel nie 100 toetse vir jou land as dit nie een van die groot karaktereienskappe in jou is om kompeterend te wees nie. So Eben maak dit nog altyd sy hele lewe lank kompeterend en persoonlik. Jy weet, en dit kan baie keer voorkom dan asof hy amper hoe kan ek sê nie dissipline het nie, maar as mens gaan kyk na sy rekord, hy het eintlik 'n baie goeie rekord in terme van dit. Hy maak dinge persoonlik sonder om sy kop te verloor, en ek dink dis die belangrike balans wat Eben gekry het hoe ouer hy geraak het en hoe meer ervare hy geraak het.
Net laastens van my kant af, miskien nou vir Damian Willemse as jou senior heel agter, of is daar nie eintlik so iets nie?
Yes, ek dink weer eens, ek dink Damian vir ons het dit al verskeie kere gesê, ons probeer om skoei in die rol van 'n Frans Steyn waar hy vir ons kan 'n 10, 'n 12 of 'n 15 kan cover. En dis 'n proses, jy weet, en ons probeer om blootstelling gee soveel soos wat ons kan in daardie posisies. Ons het nou nog nie op 12 nie, maar ons het nou al op 10, 40 minute en ons het ook op 15 'n bietjie al. Maar dan het jy altyd 'n Willie, jy weet. Ek dink Willie is uitstekend vir ons gewees toe hy opgekom het toe ons in Pretoria gespeel het. En weer eens, dit wys maar net, jy weet, Willie kry baie kritiek by baie mense, maar ek dink as 'n ou in diep na sy wedstryde gaan kyk, sê jy sien hoeveel keer is Willie die ou wat die laaste paas gee vir iemand om 'n 3 te gaan druk, jy weet, dit is merkbaar. Ek beloof jy, as jy ek weet nie hoeveel 3 ons al gedruk het van 2018 af nie, maar doen jouself 'n guns en gaan kyk, hoeveel keer is hy die ou wat daai paas maak, en dis wat Willie uniek maak, jy weet, hy sien spasie anderste as ander spelers, en ons proses is nou om Damian Willemse daardie selfe denkproses te leer, jy weet, en ja, dit is, ek dink waar die span tans is, selfs met Jaden en Faf, jy weet, al die ervaring wat Faf opgebou het in sy toetse, is hy besig om weer te deel aan Jaden en dieselfde met Kobus, jy weet, hulle voer baie in die jonger spelers in.
En dan, ek weet nie of jy met saamstem nie, maar die wedstrijd tussen Suid-Afrika en Wales is altyd baie tyd, en die wedstrijd van, vir my, as ek kyk, Wales speel min of meer dieselfde soos Suid-Afrika. Stem jy saam met dit, en is dit die rede hoekom dit altyd so tyd is, en is daar miskien 'n manier hoe die wedstryd kan verander word, en om vir hulle beter te, of uit te oorleef dag?
Ja, ek dink Wales speel baie dieselfde as ons, maar en ek dink as 'n ou gaan as 'n ou gaan kyk na die toets wat ons die naweek gespeel het, daar was geleenthede. Ons het baie geleenthede geskep, maar ons het dit nie gefinish nie. En baie keer is 'n game net so. Jy's 4 keer 5 meter van die doellyn af en dan is daar 'n aangee fout of daar is 'n vangfout en 'n ou slaan die bal aan. Jy weet, dis nie iets wat spelers doen gewoonlik nie. Dis uit karakter uit. En miskien is dit maar net partykeer gebeur dit maar net. Ek seker geen speler gaan in 'n wedstryd in om foute te maak nie, jy weet. Veral nie daar nie. Daarso is jy's op die lyn. En so ek vir die naweek hoop ek ons voorspelers en ek glo hulle sal vir ons 'n goeie platform lê. En dan is daar geleenthede is vir die agterspelers dat hulle daai geleenthede sal vat en hulle moet die vryheid hê om dit te vat. Jy weet, ons is nog nooit 'n span wat enigsins negatief is oor foute nie. Nie as dit jy gaan altyd foute maak. En ons is nie nonchalant oor foute nie. Indien daar foute is in 'n speler se mondering, dan sal ons altyd hard werk om daai fundamentele vaardighede te verbeter. En ons werk hard daaraan. Maar ja, ons is nie, spelers moet nooit die druk voel dat hulle bang is om 'n fout te maak nie. En ek dink nie ons rig in so 'n manier af nie, nee.